Welcome to the Hot Girl School, the podcast where we redefine confidence and go way beyond the reflection you see in the mirror.
We're your hosts, Lauren and Danielle, here to empower you to embrace your inner radiance because confidence is so much more than looks.
Whether you're strutting into an event or conquering the boardroom, join us as we explore topics like self-love, inner strength, and owning your unique journey to confidence.
So grab your favorite drinkie and turn up that volume because you're about to unleash your true potential.
All right, hotties. We are back for episode 2 in studio of the Hot Girl School, and we had a whole situation planned for you. And then things happened, and we feel like we should talk about these things that happened because shit happens in your day and throws you off course.
It really does. And if you're rigid or you like a very strict schedule, you have to make sure that you know how to pivot. It's literally been our word for the whole year.
Pivot. We had to pivot today. So
Hard.
I want to talk about this in a way that people can relate to. And so think of this from the standpoint of like, if you're a business owner, if you are trying to get a promotion at work, if you are planning something big and maybe there's a project you're working on that you're working hard to get to, I think that sometimes what happens is it's really fun in the beginning. It's really exciting. It's like, oh, this is new. This is fresh. Like we're doing cool shit. And then something happens where the middle is what I like to call it, is where the hard part is. And this is where most people quit. Because people are excited for you once you have a new idea, and then they're excited for you when you make it. But during the middle, there's not a lot of cheerleading.
Yeah, there's no support.
Right?
Nobody asks.
That's why people quit. And we are shooting this is our second episode, but we shot 2 episodes today.
In the studio.
And we loved the episode that we just shot. And about 4 minutes in, was it, or so?
Yeah, which we weren't looking at the camera.
Our camera died. And so there's literally shit footage of the episode.
So the camera died and it picked up on the computer, and where the computer is sitting, you can see the light rings, you can see the actual camera. Our faces are blocked. Like there's nothing hot, sexy, or extremely
professional,
yeah, like nothing
polished.
But it sounds good. You guys are going to love the episode. That's about all we can say.
So after it happened, we were like, okay, let's go collect ourselves. Mercury's in retrograde, and that sucks. Yeah. And we had to pivot. We had to like shake it off and be like, okay, like, no, let's still do what we came here to do, because we take pride in what we're doing and the work that we're doing. And it's a good reminder that, hey, sometimes days don't go as planned. Sometimes things don't work out the way that you want them to. But if you keep showing up for yourself, you keep moving forward, and eventually you'll make it.
Yes. And we're both pretty perfection-y people. And that has probably helped propel this. Yeah, I was gonna say that's definitely helped us propel this along.
Sure.
But it also like makes us sticklers about certain things where we want them to look a certain way, time a certain way, whatever it is. And this is just a good reminder, because we looked at each other, we froze, we freaked out, and we were like, this is shit, we can't use it. And we were just like, fuck it, we're going to use it because the episode is good and it doesn't look good. But most people probably aren't watching this on YouTube.
But also it's real. It's like that's
what happened.
One of the things we want to do is be real, and it happened. I don't think we could have recaptured it. It was our very first episode in studio where we got to like be together with our fun sign, and fuck it. Yeah. It's airing.
It is. It's going on.
Even though we would like it to look different.
Yeah. We're more disappointed than anything. I don't think we're mad. It's just like, oh, are you serious? The one episode that we love. So here we are today to talk about, while there is a sense of pride in things that you do, sometimes when it doesn't go as planned, you just kind of have to own it. I'm okay owning certain things. You got to pivot. Things. Yeah.
Look for the silver lining. Like the silver lining in what happened to us today is that the sound is good and we love the energy. We've been really struggling with like, we feel like we're better when we're together than when we're filming apart. And that makes sense, because that's why you should date in person. You listen to the last episode, not over text. And so it was a bummer, but it was also like, you know what? That was a really fun experience. And so we're going to put it out there anyway. And we're going to pivot and go, against our better judgment, we don't care if this one's not polished. It's going out.
And I think people like that these days. Like the polished look is nice when you're trying to be super professional, but this is like a fun project for us. So it's okay if you guys see the behind. I mean, we're taking tons of behind the scenes anyway. So why not just see how the setup is behind the scenes for the whole episode, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So we also want to really drive home that done is better than perfect. And when you decide that something needs to be perfect, you tend to keep going and never having, you don't have an end point. You just keep adding and tweaking and changing and hoping that it's going to be better. But the truth is, like, usually the first version is pretty good. And yes, you can improve it, but like the more you tweak, you get to a point where you're untweaking and it no longer looks good.
Yeah, or you've just gone too far. You've lost your enthusiasm for it. And I do this a lot with like my coaching clients is they have these ideas and it's like they're so scared to put them out there because they're afraid of the feedback, or they're afraid it won't land, or that they will get no feedback or no likes or nothing. And the reality is, like, that's okay. You're a beginner. Just put it out there and see what happens, and then tweak from there. And it's a lot easier to tweak things once they're out than to try and plan to make something perfect before taking any action. Because that whole time you're setting your, it's like sales 101 too, is you're taking a lot longer between the idea and putting it out there. And now you're almost talking yourself out of it.
Totally. Like you said, the enthusiasm, the fire, it's gone. It's no longer there. And now you're tired of looking at it. It's like, okay, is this even good anymore? So then if you can just put it out there, people will give you feedback, especially if you ask them. And if you have a name for yourself or you're established, people will unsolicited feedback, I'm sure, will come your way. But it's really important to just remember, like, go out again, like kind of what we talked about in the last episode, have fun with it. And as long as it's not maybe your bank account that's hinging on it, then, or your job, then if you go out and you just keep going and you just know that
put it out there,
you're going to keep building. And that whether you're a beginner or not, you won't know if an idea is good until you put it out there and people will tell you.
Well, yeah. And that's where, there's pros and cons to being a perfectionist. You can be really organized, but you can also not do things because, like, old me, the one that hasn't done the work, probably would have been like, we can't post that.
Oh yeah.
We can't post that.
Which is funny because that's such a, I care what people think about me. And both of us are always say, I've never cared. We don't really care that much what people think about us, but
anymore. I think that that's something you work towards. Like, I definitely have it times,
but it's also like, what's the difference between a sense of pride and caring what people think?
Yeah.
That's a fine line.
Yeah.
That's a super fine line.
Well, pride is defined by you, right? So pride, you get to define. And if you're banking your worth or the outcomes of something you're putting out there on what other people say, that's something you can't control.
No, you can't control. That's why when you listen to celebrities, they all say they don't read their comments.
Oh yeah, I would not.
I would be terrified.
How could you not? Like, here's the thing is that we all, like, I would like to think that, okay, we make it huge and we have all these followers and these listeners of the podcast. Hopefully that happens. But I like to think that, I could take all the negative heat. But you and I have talked about this, is like, how thick is our skin? Because no matter what you do, no matter who you are, someone's going to hate on it, either because they're jealous and envious or because they're just a mean person.
Yeah. Mean girls. We're not a fan of that.
Yeah. So I would like to think that I could read it and take it, but I would probably not read it either.
Yeah. I think I think the computer screen allows people to say, obviously, anything and everything they want because there's no accountability and it's super anonymous.
I call it a bully behind a keyboard.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like, you can just, if you're having a bad day and you see something, you just feel free to, like, comment.
Rip into some stranger that's just trying to do something cool.
And especially when celebrities post something that's, should be sentimental. I can think of a few examples. And I thought it was sweet. And it takes courage. It takes courage. You're telling me that those people didn't say, should I post this? Should I not post this? And then they finally, like, went back and forth and said, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to post it. That they struggle with that. They're human.
Yeah.
It's a hard place to be. And they chose to go for it. But people love the real, the raw, the vulnerable. Mm-hmm. But it also can't be too depressing.
so many, and this is what you just watched in real time. Lauren go, okay, this is what it should be. And that's in people's brain when they're going to post. Like, I know so many people that will be like, oh, I stopped posting on social media because it causes me anxiety. because I start to think
Yes.
about like, what are people, and I'll get obsessed with the likes and the this, and that's part of the society that we live in. And you have to do a lot of work to
Yeah.
take pride on yourself and to be willing to put yourself out there and not let other people's opinions factor into whether or not you keep going.
Correct. But I also think that for me, the pride sense of pride is like how I feel in my skin.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously an easy one that comes to mind is looks, right? To leave the house not dressed up in yoga clothes, like we've talked about this in other episodes, you still can leave without makeup on and in yoga clothes and still look complete and not messy or sloppy. And this morning I was going for a walk in my neighborhood and I was kind of surprised at how many people had like gross yards and just like let their house fall to the
Mm-hmm.
wayside. And I was thinking, okay, so if I put myself in their shoes, wouldn't they be a little bit like embarrassed when somebody comes over and an excuse is flying right out of them? Oh, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. The yard.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the house needs to be painted, whatever it is. And so if you can take those things and realize like that actually doesn't make me feel very good,
Mm-hmm.
all those little things add up to your confidence. And that's what makes you feel good in your skin is when you know somebody can come over to my house at any time and it's going to look good. It's
Yeah.
clean, it smells good, the dishes are done, right? Like those are consistent little efforts that make me feel good about myself.
Mm-hmm.
The days that I don't get to dishes before I leave, like you have a family, I'm sure dishes are
Yeah.
a
Things
ton in your
happen.
house,
Yeah.
but you get home and you're like,
Oh,
first of all, I still have to do it. I feel like
no,
a
I can't
slob.
leave.
I'm like worried that there's flies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just, ugh.
Yeah. And everybody's different with how they are with like house cleaning,
Yeah,
right? Because there's some people that will let it get really messy and then clean it up at the end of the day. And like they want it to be tidy before bed. Like I'm a person that just like constantly picks up because I like it to
as
be
you go.
tidy, right? But I think it is taking pride in all elements of your life. Like one big indicator for me, and I do this like professionally, is I like to look at people's car, because if their car is a mess, chances
Okay.
are pretty good like that their house is a mess, and
Like that,
perhaps they're
like it needs a cleaning. The
yeah,
inside is
there's just shit
messy.
everywhere, there might be
Okay.
trash, things
Okay.
like that. That like you're especially like you should take some pride in your things and keep
Oh
them
yeah.
nice, like keep them
And
nice.
good. So
Yeah.
selling real estate, I see houses all the time that are in dire need of a remodel. But there's two different kinds of remodels. There's it's in great condition, but it's actually livable. It's not gross. It doesn't smell. Everything's intact. And then there's like sloppy, dirty, ran into the ground,
Stains,
disgusting.
dust.
And that also needs a remodel, but it could be brand new condition, you know? And you
Yeah.
get in there and you're like, wow, these people have a very nice new house and they don't take care of it. So for me, condition is number one. So like if it makes me shrink in my skin when I'm about to meet somebody or I find an excuse flying out of my mouth, that for me
Or
is
you
like,
don't invite someone over because you're like, shit, my house is a mess.
yeah,
And like there are those friends that like love you as you are, and we all have messy days,
of
right?
course. Yes.
But I think that the the point I think that is important for people is if you're feeling down on yourself, start to look at areas where you're not showing up and taking pride in the clothes that you're wearing, how you're keeping your house, your personal hygiene, perhaps. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're just burnt out and you stopped washing your face before bed. Just start
Ooh,
there.
the
Wash your face before bed. Get
I
a
once
face wash in.
I once told my best friend that if she didn't wash her face before she went to bed, she would age 7 years every time she
Oh,
slept in her makeup. She washes her face every night and she always makes fun of me. She's like, I know you did that on purpose. I was like, somebody really told me that once.
I believe it. I've always been a face like
Always, no matter how drunk I
no matter
am.
how drunk. Like if I didn't wash my face, you know I had a good night. Like
Yeah.
every once in a
Good
while,
night.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, wash your damn face.
Yeah,
Start there.
yeah, wash your face, please, for heaven's sake.
Just look at, even like your purse, okay? Your purse or your kid's backpack or your closet. Just start. It doesn't have you don't have to fix everything at once. Like maybe
Yes.
something happened to you and stuff spiraled out and now you're not feeling a sense of pride about everyday things in your life. Start small, pick a project, get that one done. That'll energize you, make you feel a little bit better, and then move on to the next one.
And then hopefully it will become a habit. And then you have the compound effect. You get up and you make your bed. You get up and make your bed and you whatever, take out the trash, whatever it is. And it just becomes a little habit.
When you do that, it's easier to maintain. Like I get asked all the time, how do you keep your house so clean? You have 2 young kids. And it's a habit that I have formed where I just am constantly picking up. And it's, if you do it a little bit, and I make it fun with my kids, like we sing the clean up, everybody, everywhere. I'm going to save our listeners that because I'm not a singer.
I was going to say, I don't know what that is. I'd love to hear it.
I'm not going to sing for you all. I will dance for you any day of the week, but singing is not my jam. And, you know, it just, we've created a habit out of it. And then I feel a sense of pride, and I don't get that, oh shit, I don't want them to come over because my house is gross.
Yeah. Part of it's mental clarity. Like it's really hard to start your day or to start anything or to sit down and work when you have shit all around you. When things aren't away, it's like, I cannot function unless my house is clean. And I don't mean clean like, well, I do mean vacuum, so maybe that's a bad example. But I don't mean like I never let
like
it get
clutter.
that bad. Yeah, like everything needs to be away. Like the bed needs to be made, everything needs to be in drawers, and I will take the extra 20 minutes beforehand. You also get used to how you live. So if you live like a slob, you get used to living like a slob. And if you get used to it being clean, then being a slob is hard. And if you're a slob, maybe you don't like it clean. I don't know.
Well, it takes 20, this is what I do now. It takes 21 days to form a new habit. So if you've had the thoughts of like, gosh, I want to take more pride in how I keep making my bed and how I keep my car and in the things that we've talked about, start with making your bed.
Start with making your bed, dude. And like, get cute pillows and like make it, you know, I have
take pride in making it. You will feel so much happier walking into your bedroom when your bed is made.
Every time. And especially if it's cute.
100%.
Yeah. That's kind of like the closet. Like my rule is I only buy clothes that are cute so that when I need to pick out an outfit, I only have cute clothes to wear.
Love it.
Easy, right? It's just like making simple decisions from the start instead of, like you said, this is not a massive thing that we're suggesting. Like literally start with one thing and start implementing.
Well, and if you're being honest with yourself, there's, you know, we all have things that we're like, gosh, I need to work on that, or I need to change, or I'm procrastinating it or pushing it down. Like that is the thing you need the most.
Yeah.
And as hard as that is to receive or to start doing, that's the thing that's going to change the trajectory of how you're feeling confidence wise.
Agree. Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect. Have you read that book?
Such a good book.
Such a good book. So he says to start a new habit by attaching it to one that you already like.
Yep.
And so sometimes if I didn't do my dishes before I would go to bed when I was single, I would do my dishes when my water for my tea is cooking. So like I know that I have 3 to 5 minutes. And so I would either put my laundry away or like do a couple things, like whatever I need to do just to like get the day prepared, vacuum. And that was always, it made me like, okay, that's like 5 useful minutes that instead of like sitting on my phone.
Scrolling.
Exactly. I choose to do something that's going to make me happy. And now I'm smiling as I have my tea time.
Well, and you always feel better when you execute the things you need to do.
Always.
And listen, you're going to have days where you're like, fuck it, I need to lay in bed. I need to be in the couch and just zone out. And like, I need to pivot and realize that my body is asking me for rest. My mind is asking me for rest. So those things are okay too. We're not saying like be robots and have everything figured out. Right?
Yeah.
But if you're feeling shitty, it's probably because you need to address something that you're pushing down.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I feel like that's an easy secret and an easy switch is to start taking a little bit of pride in how you show up.
Yeah.
On every level.
Yeah. Asking yourself. So don't be afraid of a pivot.
Don't be afraid, dude. Look at, again, it's kind of like the numbers on Instagram. Instead of looking at it like only X amount of people liked my stuff, think, okay, that one wasn't very well received. How can I make it better for next time? And then you're unattached to the outcome.
Yep.
So it's the same thing. Like pivot, like, okay, that didn't work. We're doing this. Plan B.
Yep. And if you need a minute to figure out what your next move is, give yourself the minute. Yeah. But don't automatically panic or freak out. Like we could have easily been like, all right, we're done for today.
Yes.
We are done for today. Like we tried, it didn't work. And I'm proud of us for not doing that because that was a bummer.
That was a bummer.
It was a bummer.
Clearly, we're still talking about it.
Yeah, it was a bummer. And so I think our message for today is utilize the power of the pivot and look at some areas where you could maybe take a little more pride in how you're showing up for the world.
Yeah, your name's attached to it. So yes, you want it to be a certain way for when people are perceiving it, but you also want to feel good and proud in whatever it is that you're doing.
All right, my hotties.
All right, hotties. Thanks for tuning in. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
See you next week.
See you later.
Bye.